Right now, the Senate is set to vote on the confirmation of President Trump's controversial Supreme Court nominee this afternoon, where members of Congress stand in the 11th hour. Plus, a new business years in the making opens today in the Madison area, how many jobs it's bringing with it. And the Badgers are back and under the lights, taking the field against the Cornhuskers. We have your 3 things to watch for during tonight's game.
This is News 3 This Morning, Saturday.
Good Saturday morning and welcome to News 3 This Morning, Saturday. It is October 6th. I'm Josh Spreiter. Meteorologist Dave Caulfield is in for Chris this morning. Welcome back to the mornings.
It feels good to be back, although it was not fun coming to work this morning because of this rain. And luckily, that is dwindling, the rain across the area, but we'll still see a few more hours of showers. Poetry at this time of the morning. Why, Dave? Why? Doppler track is showing those showers continuing to move out, but some light returns still showing up across portions of southern Wisconsin. About an inch plus across the Madison area over the last 24 hours, but really that bulk of the rain fell right where we expected, about 2 to 4 inches estimated just across the border of Wisconsin and Illinois. So there could be some standing water on roadways as you head out and about this morning. So that's something to keep in mind. Some localized flooding maybe out there. Downtown Madison on the Edgewater Skycam showing some light rain and some fog as well. We do have some areas of reduced visibility because of that rain, but that is improving this morning, so good news there. Temperatures are in the 50s and they'll remain there pretty much throughout the entire day. Winds are not that bad, but you can actually see where that front is, where the winds come together there. So that front has passed us, meaning that our weather is going to improve slightly throughout the day, but the clouds will definitely stick around. Temperatures staying steady in the 50s, and then by the time we get to later tonight, falling into the lower 50s and 40s. So here is your first alert traffic update, taking a live look at Fish Hatchery Road and the Beltline. No major problems showing up there, but again, there may be some areas of some standing water, especially on those local roadways. No major accidents or incidents to report across Dane County. A little bit slow through Middleton on Highway 12, so eastbound Sauk City to Middleton, 22 minutes, average speed of around 45 miles per hour. That is your first alert traffic update. We'll talk a little bit about the weather history today, and we're talking about rain, but there is some history involving snow. I'll share that in just a few minutes.
Oh boy, you went there.
I did.
All right, Dave, thank you. Well, we start in Washington this morning, where Judge Brett Kavanaugh is expected to be confirmed to the Supreme Court by the Senate this afternoon. In a 43-minute speech Friday, Republican Senator Susan Collins of Maine said she plans to vote yes for Kavanaugh, ending months of speculation. Shortly after, Democratic Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia also gave Kavanaugh his support, the only Democrat to do so. Republican Lisa Murkowski of Alaska broke from her party, explaining her no vote on the floor. Even with Kavanaugh's confirmation nearly certain, die-hard senators argued through the night to a mostly empty Senate chamber.
Is he fit to be a jurist in the place where we have said justice in our country occurs?
We cannot set a standard of guilty until proven innocent, because then anybody can make any charge at any time.
If confirmed, Kavanaugh could be seated on the high court in the coming week. Attorneys for Dr. Christine Blasey Ford released a statement saying their client would have provided corroborating evidence had the FBI interviewed her. Breaking overnight in Madison, police are investigating a case of shots fired. They say it happened just after 10:30 last night in the 2700 block of East Washington. Police found bullet holes in the McDonald's restaurant at that location. Police don't believe anyone was injured. Witnesses say the witnesses they talked to say the shooting most likely happened across the street at or near the Capitol Petro Mart. 2 cars were seen leaving the area, one described as a white sedan and the other as an older black or gold car. Madison police are also looking for another shooter this morning. This after an innocent bystander was almost caught in gunfire. Police tell us they received several reports of shots fired on the west side around 11:30 Thursday night. One witness at the intersection of South Whitney Way and Schrader Road saw an arm stick out from an SUV and a gun began firing. Another witness saw 2 men in an SUV and heard 6 to 8 gunshots. One of those shots apparently hit a 23-year-old woman's car while she was stopped at a red light. 5 minutes past the hour. This morning, the former DeForest police chief has a new job with another local police force. That former chief, Dan Furseth, started as a part-time officer on Monday at the town of Madison Police Department. Furseth was first placed on administrative leave in May after an 11-year-old video surfaced of him making racist comments about a group of black men. He resigned in August from his position in DeForest. But right now, the town of Madison chief, Scott Gregory, is defending his decision to hire Furseth, who has worked in law enforcement for 30 years.
I think he has a lot of that experience he can bring to the town of Madison, and I want to be able to give him that opportunity. If he stubs his toe and falls, I will sit right here and tell you, okay, I made a mistake, and we'll move on from that.
Chief Gregory is also the president of the Dane County Chiefs of Police Association, which wrote a letter in August about Furseth saying, quote, "We condemn racism in any form," end quote. Madison Mayor Paul Soglin says he is disappointed that Furseth was hired. The town of Madison will be annexed in the city of Madison in 2022. Soglin says making new hires now will just make that transition more difficult. Well, the Brewers are one win away from the National League Championship Series after a victory in Game 2 over Colorado at Miller Park yesterday. That's 10 straight wins for the Brewers. Jeremy Jeffries, after a rocky Game 1, bounced back with 2 scoreless innings, teaming with the Brewer bullpen and starter Jhoulys Chacin to shut out the Rockies. 4-0 was the final. Eric Kratz drove in 2. Mike Moustakas again with a clutch RBI single. Hernan Perez, 2 doubles and an RBI. Game 3 is tomorrow afternoon in Denver at 3:37 our time. New this morning, after a week off, the Badgers are back in town facing Nebraska. News 3 Sports Director Jay Wilson has your 3 things to watch for during tonight's game.
When the Badgers play Nebraska at Camp Randall tonight at 6:30, here are 3 things to watch. Even though they're coming off a bye week, the Badgers hope to ride the momentum of their big road win at Iowa 2 weeks ago. Quarterback Alex Hornibrook coming off a great game. In fact, Hornibrook is statistically the most efficient passer in the Big Ten right now, and he hopes it stays that way tonight. The Badgers' defense is having another great season. Wisconsin is 10th in the nation in points per game, allowing just 14.5 per contest. TJ Edwards and the rest of the Badgers' defensive unit hopes to charge up the home crowd with more big stops against the Cornhuskers. And even though Nebraska is off to an 0-4 start under new head coach Scott Frost, the Badgers won't take anything for granted tonight. The memory of that disappointing loss to BYU at Camp Randall 3 weeks ago is still fresh in their minds. Another misstep would be more harmful because Nebraska is a Big Ten West opponent. And those are 3 things to watch with Wisconsin and Nebraska tonight.
Thanks, Jay. Stay with News 3 for complete coverage. We will have a recap of the game tonight on our news at 10. Well, the Metro's newest Fleet Farm store will have its official grand opening today in DeForest. The company's CEO says the store will add between 150 to 200 jobs to the area, with up to 10 new positions at the corporate office. People living around Dane County have been writing him letters for decades, asking for a store to be built here in the area. The store held its soft opening on Wednesday. Alzheimer's disease affects more than 5 million Americans, and this weekend you have a chance to walk to end Alzheimer's. News 3 is a proud sponsor of the event, starting tomorrow at 10 o'clock in the morning at Memorial High School. You can still sign up this morning. This year's walkers have already raised more than $150,000 for Alzheimer's research. The world's #1 best-selling author James Patterson will be at the Overture Center for the Wisconsin Book Festival tomorrow. He's known for his thriller and mystery novels. This weekend, though, he's focused on a whole different genre. Max Einstein, The Genius Experiment, is a children's adventure novel about a girl who solves some of the world's toughest problems using science. We'll have more on Patterson's visit to Madison ahead in our Weekend 608. 5:09 is your time this morning, and if you've taken a peek outside, that pretty much sums up the forecast. Here's a live look over the Capitol this Saturday morning. We're in for a wet weekend as it's raining as we start off our Saturday. Meteorologist Dave Caulfield in for Chris this morning is in next to time it all out in his first alert forecast. And there are several shows and movies for you to enjoy on this rainy weekend. Will's in next with his 3 things to watch on News 3 This Morning, Saturday.
Good morning. Happy Saturday. Lots going on this weekend. The weather, by and large, is really not wanting to cooperate with us. We did have some heavy rain overnight, and early this morning, some of that rain still sticking around. But over the past 24 hours or so, some of us have picked up quite a bit of it, at least according to radar estimates. There's actually a flash flood warning for our neighbors across portions of northern Illinois. For southern Wisconsin, though, about ½ an inch to an inch of rain closer to the bottom of Rock County. That number goes up to about 2 to 3 inches estimated just over the last 24 hours. In Madison, we've picked up already over ½ an inch of rain, and we're actually close to 3 inches of rain for the month of October. Remember, average for the month is about 2½ inches, so we've eclipsed our monthly average already in just the first 6 days of the month. Pretty remarkable stuff. That flash flood watch still in effect until early this afternoon for the counties you see shaded in green. Now, the good news is the heaviest rain has moved out for many of us, so I think that watch will be canceled pretty quickly, and already canceled across Grant County. So here's what I was talking about on Doppler track, just some light to moderate showers across portions of Iowa and Lafayette County, moving into portions of Dane County as well. We zoom out, we can see there's not really much behind this, folks, so that's good news. We could see a few raindrops throughout the day, but by and large, really not looking at anything too significant. Downtown Madison, the Edgewater Skycam, light rain and also some areas of fog. Forecast high a little bit weird today because of that front coming through. Actually, already has moved through for many of us. Temperatures in the 50s to start and actually going down throughout the day. That's pretty atypical for a typical day for temperatures, at least when we look at that thermometer. We are looking at the thermometer right now, 55 in Madison, 59 in Janesville, 55 in Lone Rock, and we're talking about rain, but believe it or not, the earliest measurable snow actually occurred on this date in 1964. We're not talking about snow for quite some time, but some more rain is possible throughout the day. Shouldn't be too much, though. Temperatures staying steady in the 50s. A few raindrops can't be ruled out throughout this Saturday, but really not looking at anything too heavy until we get into later on tomorrow. That's when we could see a couple more showers. And throughout the next couple of days, plenty more chances for showers and storms. Temperatures in the upper 70s for Tuesday and Wednesday, but then we dry out towards the middle of next week and cool down as well with temperatures in the 50s. It is too early to think about snow. I'm just thinking about this rain wrapping up in the next couple of hours, Josh.
You know, Dave, I actually saw some of my friends posting pictures from northern Minnesota. They got some snow there this week. So.
It's already happened.
It is.
It's too fast. Mother Nature, slow your roll.
Slow it down.
The roll.
All right, Dave, come on in. Thank you. A new trailer is out for Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, the next incarnation of the superhero. This animated version introduces fans to Brooklyn teenager Miles Morales, who it turns out is one of the many Spider-Man characters roaming the streets of New York. There are at least 6 Spider heroes in the new film, including Penny Parker, Spider-Man Noir, and even Spider-Ham. Other familiar voices include Lily Tomlin, Haley Steinfeld, and Nicolas Cage. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse swings into theaters December 14th. And one of the greatest superhero movies of all time will fly back into theaters to celebrate its 40th anniversary. The 1978 classic Superman, the movie starring the late Christopher Reeve as the Man of Steel, returns to 500 theaters Thanksgiving weekend. The special screenings also coincide with the 80th anniversary of the superhero's creation. As a special bonus, right before the iconic opening credits roll, the 10-minute animated short Mechanical Monsters will play. That's the second ever Superman cartoon and is considered among the greatest adventure cartoons ever produced. Well, if you don't want to wait a month or two to watch something good, you don't have to. Our Will Loper has your 3 things to watch right now.
I wouldn't believe the story if someone else were telling it, but it's true, every word of it.
New on home video this week is 3 identical strangers.
You guys have been on the front page of every newspaper in the world.
True. They were more like clones than they were like brothers.
It was a miracle.
There was nothing that could keep us apart.
That's when things kind of got funky.
The documentary follows identical triplets who are separated at birth, and the reunion brings a number of twists, surprises, and revelations.
They separated these boys at birth.
The parents had never been told that there were 2 other children.
What was the purpose?
Why? How could you not tell us?
3 Identical Strangers is available to rent or buy everywhere now.
Who would be evil enough to come up with something like this?
Having a baby is an immoral act. Overpopulation, climate change, rise of neo-fascism.
Did you take your Valium?
Yes? Why?
Newly streaming on Netflix is the film Private Life.
They're trying a by any means necessary approach.
I thought they were done with all that and they were trying to adopt.
They're still doing that.
They're like fertility junkies.
Paul Giamatti and Catherine Hahn star as a couple facing a multitude of difficulties as they try to have a child.
We are doing everything we can, short of kidnapping, to start a family.
I don't think I even want to have a kid anymore.
Private Life is available to stream on Netflix now.
We need to take some responsibility for the situation.
A lot of women have babies at 41. I thought I could too.
Finally, prepare yourself for the Lady Gaga version this weekend of A Star is Born by checking out its most acclaimed predecessor, starring Judy Garland.
Do you always sing like that?
Like what?
The way you sang just now.
Why?
I never heard anybody sing just the way you do.
James Mason plays an alcoholic film star finding an aspiring artist and thrusts her into stardom as the two fall in love.
Oh, there it is, Esther. You got it. Just the way you dreamed it.
No, I've got more. Much more.
A Star is Born, the 1954 version, is available to rent or buy now.
Hey. I just want to take another look at you.
Happy watching. Those are the 3 things you need to watch. And this is Will Loper for News 3 This Morning, Saturday.
From movies to music this morning, for the first time in nearly 3 years, Taylor Swift will perform at an awards show. The singer will open the 2018 American Music Awards on Tuesday. This is her first award show performance in nearly 3 years. Swift will sing I Did Something Bad. That's one of her latest singles from her Reputation album. The 28-year-old is also up for several awards, including this year's Artist of the Year category, alongside Drake, Ed Sheeran, Imagine Dragons, and Post Malone. The AMAs start at 7 o'clock Tuesday night. In Madison, the Smashing Pumpkins will perform at the city's newest music venue next month. The band is kicking off a winter North American leg of its 30th anniversary and reunion tour at the Sylvie on November 28th. In 1990, the Smashing Pumpkins recorded their first album, Gish, at the former Smart Studios in Madison. The group has not performed here since the 90s. Tickets are now on sale. 5:21 this Saturday morning, pumpkin farms, corn mazes, and of course apple picking. The trees are changing colors out there, and the colder weather signals fall is finally here. But is all of the rain hurting area farmers hoping for good business this time of year? We head to a local apple orchard to investigate when News 3 This Morning Saturday returns.
5:24 on this Saturday morning. Good morning. A couple light showers still around, and we'll need to have that umbrella ready to go for the next few hours at least. But the showers will be ending this morning. Mostly cloudy, temperatures staying in the 50s. Be in the 50s this afternoon as well. Maybe a few raindrops, but generally looking at just cloudy skies and a little bit cool outside as well. And that's your first alert forecast.
All right, Dave, thank you. If you're looking for something to do this weekend, maybe check out an apple orchard in the area. All of the rain we've been seeing is affecting business during an already short apple picking season. And now that we're well into that apple picking season, many orchards are hopeful for a better turnout of people coming out to pick. This is the time of year appleberry farm owners David and Sandra Wilds live for. It's already an extremely short season. With so many rainy days, they haven't seen a lot of visitors yet, and the apple picking days are numbered.
We only have 8 weeks for the main season. People don't come after Halloween typically, so it's the weekend weather that's the critical part. Obviously we need to pick every day, but that's the big impact.
Last Saturday, they saw a decent amount of people with a drier day, but Sunday was super quiet and dreary with all of the rain. Obviously, this week has been much of the same. They tell me they depend on business over the weekends in order to have a successful year. 5:26 this morning, still ahead in this broadcast, what to expect in the final day of this year's World Dairy Expo. Plus, we'll introduce you to this month's top-notch teacher, getting kids out of the classroom to show them the real-life hard work that goes into supporting one of Wisconsin's most important industries. Thanks for watching News 3 This Morning, Saturday. This month's top-notch teacher is showing his students what's so special about Wisconsin farmland. We'll share his story just ahead.
This is News 3 This Morning, Saturday.
Good morning and welcome back to News 3 This Morning, Saturday. It is October 6th. I'm Josh Breiter. Meteorologist Dave Caulfield is tracking more rain, but first, here's what's making news this morning. We begin in Washington, where Judge Brett Kavanaugh is expected to be confirmed to the Supreme Court by the Senate this afternoon. In a 43-minute speech Friday, Republican Senator Susan Collins of Maine said she plans to vote yes for Kavanaugh, ending months of speculation. Shortly after, Democratic Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia also gave Kavanaugh his support, the only Democrat to do so. Republican Lisa Murkowski of Alaska broke from her party, explaining her no vote on the floor. If confirmed, Kavanaugh could be seated on the high court within the next week. The Metro's newest Fleet Farm store will have its official grand opening today in DeForest. The company's CEO says the store will add between 150 to 200 jobs to the area, with up to 10 new positions at the corporate office. People living around Dane County have been writing him letters for a decade asking for a store to be built in the area. The store held its soft opening Wednesday. Alzheimer's disease affects more than 5 million Americans, and this weekend you have a chance to walk to end Alzheimer's. News 3 is a proud sponsor of the event, which starts at 10 a.m. tomorrow at Memorial High School. You still have time to sign up right now. This year's walkers have already raised more than $150,000 for Alzheimer's research. 5:31 right now. Let's send it over to Dave Caulfield with a wet weekend ahead. Good morning, Dave.
Good morning, Josh. The good news is a lot of that rain has started to wrap up this morning, but it was really coming down at times, especially during the overnight hours. But we're just seeing that light rain show up across portions of south central Wisconsin. That's going to move through over the next couple of hours. So we'll need the umbrella just in case we get a few stray raindrops, but not looking at anything significant throughout the rest of the day. And I think that flash flood watch is going to come to an end sooner rather than later. Downtown Madison on the Edgewater Skycam, looking at those light raindrops and mostly cloudy skies. 55 in Madison, 59 in Janesville, 50 in Camp Douglas, and still in the 40s in Black River Falls. Believe it or not, that is about 5 to 10 degrees warmer compared to this time on Friday. So temperatures and winds over the next 12 hours, we are holding steady in the upper 50s with that north wind at about 8 to 15 miles per hour throughout the day. So not the best day, but at least we won't see that much in the way of rain. Here's your first alert traffic update. Remember, not too much flooding across southern Wisconsin, which is good news. That rain mostly fell to the south and east of us, but there could be some standing water, especially on local roadways. No major accidents or incidents to report across Dane County. Here are your drive times. Westbound John Nolan to Verona Road. That's 5 minutes with an average speed of around 55 miles per hour. And that is your first alert traffic update.
All right, Dave, thank you. Well, it has been a wet week for farmers in southern Wisconsin, but that doesn't mean the hard work ends. Troy Talford is one of the educators encouraging students to get outside and into the field despite ongoing challenges Wisconsin farmers may be facing. He's this month's top-notch teacher, as Charlotte DeLeste reports.
Anybody want to take a turn taking the rabbit out?
It's a time-honored industry.
We have a bigger purpose here in the agriculture industry than we sometimes realize.
Troy Talford is the agriculture instructor and FFA advisor at Sauk Prairie High School, where he teaches both middle and high schoolers.
Put one hand underneath their belly, you'll lift them up.
Today's class is more like an Ag 101 for middle school students, teaching them how to handle companion animals and eventually livestock.
Our classes used to be training the kids to go home and take over the family farm or work in partnership with the family on the farm. And now we don't have as many students that are on a farm.
In fact, less than 10% of his middle school students come from a farm. So Mr. Talford has many goals: expose them to plant and animal sciences, and ultimately open the door for students to discover potential future careers.
We need people. We need people to replace the farmers. We need people to replace the veterinarians. We need people to replace all these different agricultural jobs that are out there.
Mr. Talford didn't grow up on a farm, but worked on his grandparents' farms, ultimately choosing to pass on his knowledge and passion for the industry to others.
And I tell my kids, I don't care if you're going to go home and take over a farm. I don't care if you're going to go and work as a nutritionist for a feed company. If all you take out of this class is that I have an appreciation for going home and planting my own garden or taking care of my small animals that I own at home, that's something to me. There's a need, and if I can use my enthusiasm and my energy in a classroom to make that happen,
then we may very well be looking at a future generation here that is going to feed the world and be stewards of the land.
But it takes a village to raise a child. Well, it also takes a village to run an ag program.
For top-notch teacher in Prairie du Sac, I'm Charlotte DeLeste, WISC-TV News 3.
If you know of a top-notch teacher who deserves to be recognized, nominate them at channel3000.com. 5:35 this Saturday morning. Singled out, humbled, and a bit embarrassed. A Green Beret earned one of the nation's highest honors for his service overseas this week. But if you ask him, he'll say he didn't deserve it. What this 39-year-old did to earn the country's top military award and the new enemy he's now battling on News 3 this morning, Saturday.
.539 on this Saturday morning. Good morning. We had some pretty heavy rain in spots overnight, but a lot of that rain is dwindling early this Saturday morning. Still have that umbrella ready to go over the next couple of hours, but generally throughout the day, not seeing much in the way of rain, but the clouds definitely stay with us. Temperatures in Madison in the mid-50s, also in Boscobel. Still in the 60s in Milwaukee, 46 in Stevens Point, and closer to the Northwoods in the low 40s. This morning, temperatures staying in the 50s, mostly cloudy with those showers coming to an end. Then cloudy. I can't rule out a few raindrops this afternoon, but nothing to cancel plans over. Chance of showers tonight, similar story. Don't cancel any plans. We should be good for the Badger game. Cooler with temperatures in the mid-40s. And that's your first alert forecast.
All right, Dave, thank you. 5:39 is your time right now, and it's an award 10 years in the making. This week, President Trump awarded the Medal of Honor to a Secret Service agent for his heroics a decade ago as a Green Beret medic in Afghanistan. Here's David Martin now on how he earned the nation's highest military award and the new enemy he's now battling.
The Medal of Honor will humble anyone, but no one more than Staff Sergeant Ronald Schur.
To be singled out at all just doesn't make sense.
You seem almost embarrassed.
A little bit.
Like it or not, his actions during a 2008 battle in the mountains of Afghanistan are now front and center. Remarkably, parts of it were captured on video. Here's Schur's team of Green Berets and Afghan commandos coming off their helicopter.
I just remember being rocky and cold, and then as soon as you look out, and it was just kind of straight up everywhere you looked.
Their objective was a village where leaders of one of Afghanistan's many terror groups were thought to be hiding. The enemy saw the Green Berets coming and opened up on them.
Felt like we were being shot at from every direction.
Schur was the team's medic.
I heard the first calls for medic, and at that point, worked my way over to the first person who needed help.
Did you have to expose yourself to fire to get there?
Yes. I mean, I had to get there.
Did you get hit?
I know when I was shot in the helmet.
And were you okay?
Felt like somebody hit me in the helmet with a baseball bat.
While Apache helicopters rocketed the village,
Good missile. Good missile.
and jets dropped bombs within danger close range of the Green Berets, Schur kept crawling across open ground to treat the wounded.
It just became a mission of just getting as many guys out of there as I could.
Medevacs braved the firestorm to evacuate the casualties, 4 critically wounded Americans and 2 dead Afghan commandos.
We got everybody. We got everybody out.
Schur left the Army and joined the Secret Service. You might think he can breathe easy now that the ceremony is over and go back to guarding the president. Not so. I understand you're fighting a different battle.
Unfortunately, yes.
What have the doctors told you?
I mean, I was diagnosed with lung cancer last year.
What's the prognosis?
Taking it one day at a time.
Having faced death before, Ronald Schur knows exactly what he has to do.
We're just giving this fight everything we can, just like the last one.
David Martin, CBS News.
Time right now is 5:42 this morning, and are you looking for something to do this weekend? Well, we've got some ideas for you, from one of the best-selling authors of all time to a world-famous spider. There are several big names in town. Your Weekend 608 is straight ahead on News 3 This Morning, Saturday.
Good morning. Definitely a soggy start to this Saturday with the rain in town. The good news is much of that is moving on as that low pressure system and cold front move through this morning. We're still going to be cool, though, with the clouds sticking around. As I mentioned, those showers really dwindling this morning, but really in the overnight hours, we saw some periods of heavy rain across southern Wisconsin. Now not so much, as that coverage is really starting to come to an end. And I think that even though the flash flood watch hasn't been canceled for all of us, I believe it will be canceled pretty early this morning, so be on the lookout for that. But still have that umbrella ready to go because a few stray showers may still be falling over the course of this morning. A live look in Madison, the WISC-TV Skycam, going to be a cloudy day, currently at 55 as we switch over to the Edgewater Skycam with some light rain falling, northwest wind at 3 miles per hour. That dew point right near that temperature, so you figure that that relative humidity is high, and that usually means that rain is nearby. 57 in Janesville, 55 in Watertown, 51 in the Dells, and 50 in Camp Douglas and Watoma. Now, the Badgers forecast, back at home after facing Iowa last week. We are taking on the Nebraska Cornhuskers at Camp Randall Stadium at 6:30. So temperature is going to be a little bit cool, that's for sure. Mostly cloudy, and I can't rule out a slight shower chance, but I wouldn't worry about it too much, folks. If we do get those showers to set up, it's going to be very brief and really not anything that we need to concern ourselves over. But if you are concerned about the fall color report, I have more good news. Now, Rock County is in the 25 to 50% leaf change coverage area. Really not a lot of spots that are not seeing any of those leaves change. However, especially for southern Wisconsin, I still think it's going to be about 1 to 2, maybe even close to 3 weeks for some of us to get from patchy coverage to peak coverage. So be on the lookout for that. It all depends on those temperatures, but things are changing pretty quickly over the first couple of days of October. So here's your Pinpoint City forecast. Lots of clouds for this afternoon. Temperatures staying in the 50s from Mineral Point to Muscadet into Dodgeville. Then as we head to the north, Baraboo, Poignette, and Columbus. Temperatures in the 50s this afternoon, and they'll be going down through the 50s into the 40s by tonight. Plenty more chances for showers and storms, but we do warm up a little bit on Monday and especially into Tuesday, where those highs in the upper 70s. After we lose those rain chances, we lose those warm temperatures on Thursday and Friday. Temperatures back into the 50s. And speaking of Columbus, Hank and Juke, hello, good morning. A little bit of a robot dog looking picture there. And this forecast a little bit robotic as well. We kind of are dealing with the same thing over and over, but I do think those rain chances come to an end by the time we get into the middle of next week.
I'm sure our furry friends will like that too, not getting wet, having to go out and go to the bathroom.
I mean, no one likes that, to be honest.
No. I always feel bad when I see the owners going out. That's why I don't have a dog.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, Dave, thank you. What is the weekend in the 608?
And here are some ideas to enjoy a perfect fall weekend in Madison.
25 area artists will take part in the 5th annual Latino Art Fair at the Overture Center from 5 until 9 tonight. It's put on by the Latino Chamber of Commerce of Dane County, and the event will feature paintings, photography, pottery, and jewelry from artists in our area. There will be also performances and music from the Afro-Peruvian group Golpe Tierra.
Miss Charlotte the Spider herself is in town. You heard me right. For the next 3 weekends, young actors from around Madison bring to life Charlotte's Web, the classic story of that heroic spider we all know and love who saves Wilbur, the piglet's life. The Children's Theater of Madison production is in Overture's Playhouse today at 2:30 and 7, and tomorrow at 2:30.
Today is your last chance to check out the World Dairy Expo at the Alliant Energy Center. This year's expo includes informational seminars on key issues for dairy farmers, plus how to approach the record low milk prices, tariffs, and uncertainty with foreign markets. There are competitions outside the cattle and trade shows and social and business opportunities as well. Tickets for the final day are $12. This year's Supreme Champion cows will be announced at 4 o'clock this afternoon.
Why not have a little Sunday brunch downtown before going to see world-renowned best-selling author James Patterson at the Overture's Capitol Theater? I met him yesterday. Really cool experience. The event kicks off the Wisconsin Book Festival. Now, Patterson is the Guinness World Record holder for the author with the most #1 New York Times bestsellers, and will be interviewed by Steve Paulson of Wisconsin Public Radio about his Max Einstein children's book series. You can see the show tomorrow at 10.
And as always, pick up a copy of this month's Madison magazine for all of the best in the Madison area. 5:51 this Saturday morning, and there's a full hour of News 3 this morning ahead at 8, including 3 things to watch for during tonight's Badgers game. Then on our news at 6 and 10, we're heading to an event today raising money for local mental health service. But first, we're taking a trip to Key Largo to catch up with military members on a new mission. What they're diving into now, saving the environment and themselves. The news is back in the morning on News 3 This Morning, Saturday. And welcome back at 5:54 this morning. And we end this morning with a group of military heroes or veterans on a new mission. They've become eco-warriors out to save coral reefs and in some cases themselves.
Manuel Bajorquez has their story.
With an oldies soundtrack, a dive boat slices through the sky blue waters off Key Largo. Meet the Force Blue Dive Team, a dozen of America's very best, all former Marines, Navy SEALs, and Special Ops guys, on a mission to save the nation's largest reef tract.
This is ground zero if we want to protect the planet.
47-year-old Rudy Reyes is a co-founder. He fought in 3 wars as part of the super elite U.S. Marine Recon Unit.
It's really warrior stuff. A warrior takes action, and that's what we're doing here with Force Blue.
Irma wrecked the reef. Some parts look like coral boneyard. Among the fixes, the delicate work of transplanting coral seedlings, creating an underwater forest of baby coral. but there's also plenty of heavy lifting. Like this centuries-old 800-pound pillar coral ripped off its base by Hurricane Irma. Co-founder Jim Ritterhoff watched the team spring into action.
You're talking about individuals who have lifted Predator drones off the bottom of the ocean, right? Yeah. So in about 2 minutes, they figured out we get 6 airbags on this. We can get it, cement it back on, and almost instantaneously, the color of this reef came back.
But here's the rub. There is perhaps more important restoration work going on here.
Yes.
Beyond the coral.
Oh, I was struggling with alcohol and substance abuse and, in general, massive amounts of depression.
Like for so many vets, adjusting to post-war life is a challenge.
For a lot of these guys, they look great. They can function at a high capacity. Anything you ask them to do, but deep down inside, they're hurting. But you put these guys in the right situation, you give them a mission, and there's no stopping them.
Where I started and where I'm at now, it's 180 degrees, and I'm only getting better.
Admittedly, 12 guys are not going to save the reefs on their own. But to them, it's the mission that matters. A fight for something important, something bigger than themselves. Manuel Bojorquez, CBS News, off Key Largo.
I've always wanted to go scuba diving.
Me too. I don't know if I could drum up the courage, but...
Snorkeling is okay.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Yes.
That's where my limit is right there. But those guys don't have any limits, which is really, really awesome. We do have some limited rain, or it's around for a limited amount of time this morning, but still have that umbrella with you. Mostly cloudy with the showers ending this morning. Temperatures staying in the 50s. A few raindrops this afternoon, but really staying cloudy and cool with temperatures in the 50s.
All right, Dave, thank you. We'll see you ahead at 8 for News 3 This Morning, Saturday.